Welcome back, distinguished viewers of ladies and gentlemen. We are back with our very special interview and one-on-one interview with His Excellency Dr. Mansour Al-Awar. He is the Chancellor of the Hamdan bin Mohammed Smart University. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And our next category is titled The Future of Jobs and Related Necessary Skills, EduGame and its outputs. Something students would really love to hear, and even parents who are the first investors in their students. But first, Your Excellency, let's go with this. This is no fortune-telling question. We do not have a crystal ball, but how do you look at the future prospects of the educational system in the UAE and the world?
I think the future of education, I'm talking about this geography, for a long time, relatively speaking, long time, they were focusing only on the knowledge side of education. But they have forgotten the other 50%, which all dictionaries around the world, when they define education, they say transfer of knowledge and skills. Our education system in the Arab world is lacking the second half.
Which is?
Skills. Although, don't quote me wrong, those faculties and their colleagues, although they put sometimes like a learning outcome of any program, that's okay, this is a learning outcome related to skills, but when they assess it back to the knowledge. So in other words, that the skills is something that the future will depend on. Those who will be having the skills who are going to be on the frontier, irrelevant to the size of the country. So that is why Hamdan bin Mohammed Smart University, early on, we concentrated on learning for skills. That is a bottom line. And that is why it led us to specify the output of this institution of higher education, which is Hamdan bin Mohammed Smart University.
Your Excellency, this answer of yours inspires me to recustomize my next question. As we know, there is constant job development. One of the most significant is I believe you remember, in some certain companies, private sector, I believe, the elimination of the traditional job titles. There is no manager of blah, blah. There is no chief of blah, blah. You, as an employee, are recognized by your skill, by your talent. Now, this impact of job development, what is it on the reality and future of education? You may have a student who goes like, are two types of people in the world. Are those who are talented, and there are those who are hard workers. I'm a hard worker. Will he feel like he's outcast from this changing world?
I think I've been asked a question in one of our interviews with the media about the next 50 years in United Arab Emirates. What is the required? And I've been asked, what would be your methodology if you're going to apply your approach? I said, the skills, and the skills, nothing more. And this is skills, of course. The source of this skill, of those skills, is the education system. The real output of our education system must be people graduating with skills. The problem around the world, and we are a part of this world, that less emphasis be done on education system regarding the skills. Because the problem with the skills is the assessment of skills. Not just only to mention that, okay, I am also doing skills. Yes, everybody did they did the same. Learning outcomes related to this skill. But how you assess this skill? Is it in the summative way? I go for a written exam. I'm still going back to the knowledge skills assessment. Knowledge assessment, not the skill assessment. The skills assessment is tough for all the faculties around the world, including United Arab Emirates. So The source of skills are education institutions, general, higher, everybody. And there are also, it's like a river. And when we talk about the skills needed for the future, how I'm going to do it, I have source of the skills are education. I have the river track, which is the learners, the students. Mm-hmm. And we have also the, where the river goes into, dumping into the sea, that's where the society is, where the private sector, public sector. So I need to question all those. When I go to the universities, ask them, what do you teach our kids? Our students, the schools, what you are teaching them? How many skills are coming out of the high school, Yusuf? What sort of skills they have? It's not a question to the universities only, and all education institutions. And now, if I go to, for instance, tomorrow to Dubai court, I ask them, Dubai court, what sort of skills do you need for your judges? I take that, and I take the schools of law. Are they matching? If they're not matching, we have a problem. So we need to first of all, to recognize the skills part. Whoever has a skill, graduating with a skill, no matter so many jobs that are going to be available in the market, and you need, of course, the education institutions, they have to be ready because they are having kind of a communication with the private and the public sector, what the skills they're looking for. So it's not a matter of guessing. It's not a fortune telling. It's a science by itself. I go to Dubai court, I design my school of law outcomes to what the Dubai courts want. I'm just giving an example out of the blue. It's similarly to the medicine, similarly to engineering, similarly to business, and so on and so forth. So commanding the skills is the gateway to the future.
Let's talk about the future in a certain sense. You have two tough jobs. In addition to the traditional one of preparing generations, you have another 50 years to hand over to our leadership here. Now, what approach do you follow in preparing the youth to become leaders in an era of a more prosperous, united country in the next 50 years? How do you prepare them to be the leaders of that era?
The leaders is, first of all, I prepare them through their skills in different disciplines. And preparation, that is why the Hamdan bin Muhammad Smart University has a motto. We graduate entrepreneurs, not job seekers. This is a huge task on our back because it's a huge why? Because it's a culture change. Because currently, parents, society are looking for jobs. Media running after us as an institution of learning, how many jobs? Are you preparing your people to become a good employees? I always ask them, I'm preparing them to become a good employers, not a good employee. So preparation for the future is to have a self-confidence. You won't have a self-confidence, Yusuf, unless you have certain skills. Yes, indeed. You polish your skills towards your job, what you're going to create. But the job doesn't initiate a skill. You might be very smart and a new skill, you will start with it, but it will take you time, much more time. People on the ground, they don't have much time. People got used to, I'm graduate, I have a piece of paper with no skills. You are responsible for employment. I have to be employed. The government is responsible for employment. We need to change the damn culture. The culture of entrepreneurship. It doesn't come easy, and our government are day and night working on that approach to be able to educate gradually the society, to make that shift of paradigm of our graduates to the future.
Doctor, what about one of your genius approaches in e-learning, which is gamification, employing games in the process of education? Now, Can you tell me a little bit more about the system and in what role of development does it serve?
It serves into the development of the learner's experience and development of his skills. All of our EduGame part of it, we designed it on our 5 outputs of the characteristics of the university graduates.
Yes.
The first one was the academic excellence. And the second was the analytical skills and innovation. The third one was passion for knowledge, which is the research. The fourth was teamwork and interpersonal skills, like communication. The fifth was the national identity. All the EduGame system is being built around those 5 characteristics, which gives the people not just only the hard skills, which they gain it into the academic excellence, but also the softer skills. And that is where we prepare our generations to the future.
So instead of having them go in real life and try to develop these skills through trial and error,
Correct.
You've created a very forgiving, friendly to use system to develop these skills.
And those 5 characteristics, along with EduGame, is a part of our DNA of our learning materials as well. So they go to the class, the faculty, the learner would do the same. So they are not away. This is not a standalone something. It's a total DNA of the smart learning, where learning becomes fun.
Your Excellency, this, I believe, wraps up the category of the future of jobs and related necessary skills. With every question, you've inspired us to the answer of another question before we even ask. So thank you very much for that. But dear viewers, stay with us. The upcoming categories are not that simple.